Liverpool have finally got the breakthrough they have been waiting for in their pursuit of Bradley Barcola, with the Reds reportedly reaching a deal in principle with Paris Saint-Germain for their number one target. Let's break this down. There is so much to discuss in today's video, so be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for daily Liverpool content. After weeks of negotiations, uncertainty, and plenty of twists along the way, Liverpool are now on the verge of completing a blockbuster deal that could completely transform Andoni Iraola's attack. Barcola became Liverpool's priority target after their pursuit of Yan Diomande failed to materialise, but getting a deal over the line for the 23-year-old has been anything but straightforward. There were serious questions over whether PSG would actually be willing to let one of their most dangerous attacking players leave, but the situation in Paris has changed dramatically in recent days. And now, according to David Ornstein of The Athletic, Liverpool have reached an agreement in principle worth a staggering £100 million up front, with another £20 million potentially due in add-ons. That means Liverpool could ultimately be paying £120 million for Barcola. Now, it is important to stress that the deal is not technically signed and completed just yet. The final details still need to be ironed out, but at this stage it is understood to be a formality. Barcola is then expected to travel for his medical before putting pen to paper on a long-term contract, with his personal terms already agreed. And perhaps just as importantly, the player himself wanted Liverpool. There had been reported interest from Arsenal, but Barcola's preference was a move to Anfield. And after everything Liverpool have done to get this deal into position, they now appear to have their man. What makes this even more interesting is that Liverpool actually considered signing Barcola back in 2025. At the time, however, the club decided against pushing ahead because they did not want to block Rio Numoa's pathway into the first team. But circumstances have changed, with Iraola wanting his wingers to be capable of operating on both flanks. Numoa is now adapting towards the right side, while Liverpool's attack has been crying out for another elite option. And that need became even more obvious following Mohamed Salah's decision to leave the club a year earlier than expected. Liverpool knew back in March that Salah would be departing, yet the search for his replacement dragged on. There was frustration surrounding the lack of an immediate solution, but this latest development suggests Liverpool were prepared to play the long game, and it could now be about to pay off in a very big way. Barcola arrives with a serious reputation. Having come through at Lyon, the Frenchman made 47 appearances for his boyhood club before earning a €45 million move to PSG in 2023. Since then, he has made 152 appearances for the Parisian Giants, scoring 39 goals and providing 37 assists. That is an impressive return, particularly when you consider the level of competition for places at PSG. But it is his profile that makes this move particularly exciting for Liverpool. Barcola is tall, incredibly quick, technically gifted, and capable of taking defenders on at pace. He can stretch a defence, create chances out of nothing, and attack space in a way Liverpool have desperately needed. And while he is not necessarily being brought in as a direct replacement for Salah on the right wing, Liverpool have signed a player who can potentially replace a huge portion of the attacking output they have lost. On the left, he could finally provide the long-awaited successor to Luis Diaz. And with Florian Wirtz, Alexander Isak, and the rest of Liverpool's attacking options around him, the potential is enormous. The key question now is just how quickly this can all be made official. Because although the paperwork still needs to be completed, Liverpool have seemingly crossed the biggest hurdle of all. The agreement with PSG is there, personal terms are agreed, the medical is next. In other news, there has been growing pressure on Alexander Isak since his move to Liverpool, but Michael Owen has now taken things up another level with a brutal assessment of the Swedish striker. Owen has made it clear that, in his view, Isak has reached the point where the excuses have to stop. After injuries disrupted his first season at Anfield, there was always an understanding that the striker needed time to recover, regain his sharpness, and settle into a completely different environment. But according to Owen, that patience is now running out. Isak has had his rehabilitation, he has returned to international duty, he has completed pre-season, and most importantly, he has now returned to full fitness. That means Liverpool can no longer simply wait for the player they thought they were signing to eventually appear. And Sunday's performance against Newcastle has only intensified those questions. Facing his former club at St James's Park, Isak was under the microscope from the very first whistle. The home supporters made their feelings known, and rather than responding with the kind of performance that would silence the criticism, the Liverpool striker struggled to make an impact. He played the full 90 minutes but managed just 28 touches and failed to find the net despite registering 1.09 expected goals. Even more concerning, he missed two big chances in a game Liverpool desperately needed more from their attacking players. For Owen, that is where the frustration comes in. Speaking on TalkSport, the former Liverpool striker acknowledged that he understands exactly how difficult it can be to return from serious injuries. But after giving Isak time and understanding his circumstances, Owen believes Liverpool supporters are now entitled to expect much more. And his comments were particularly revealing because Owen knows just how good Isak can be. The striker produced outstanding performances for Newcastle. He showed the movement, finishing, intelligence and explosiveness that made Liverpool willing to spend so heavily to bring him to Anfield. That is precisely why Owen's criticism carries so much weight. He isn't suggesting Isak suddenly lacks ability. Quite the opposite. He knows the quality is there. The problem is that Liverpool simply haven't seen enough of it. Last season, Isak scored just 4 goals in 22 appearances, while averaging only 23 touches per 90 minutes in the Premier League. He also missed 5 big chances. And now, after finally reaching full fitness, Owen believes the spotlight has to become even brighter. Liverpool need Isak. Mohamed Salah is no longer there, Hugo Ekitike is unavailable, and the attacking options are already being stretched. This isn't a situation where Liverpool can afford to wait indefinitely for their record signing to find his form. Owen even admitted that Liverpool's overall performance against Newcastle wasn't particularly impressive, pointing out that Florian Wirtz was also unusually quiet. In the end, Liverpool did well to come away with a point. But Isak is different. He is the headline signing. He is the player who was brought in to make the difference in moments exactly like this. And when that isn't happening, the criticism is inevitably going to become louder. That is why Owen's warning is so significant.